Okay, so once again, all of that is kind of the foundation of our program and well thought through. And it's really important to us that our students are well prepared to go out and not just get a job. We want you to have a career, and we want you to be able to do the things that you want to do. So that's why every course that is offered has been, again, thought through in terms of the required courses. But you're also able to take other courses, and we'll talk about that in a second, that may be more relevant to your potential career. So really quickly, in terms of the course requirements, and I will send this out to you, but we didn't want to send it right away because we didn't want to confuse you. So we figured we'll talk about it here in a meeting, and then I'll send you the information. So you do know by now the 2 courses that you need to sign up for, which are the advanced statistics as well as intro to community psychology. But you can also see the breakdown of other courses kind of between the 2 years, including in the winter, advanced statistics 2, quantitative research design, and then in the spring, principles of human diversity, and then you get to pick social core, and we'll on the next slide go over some of those options for the different seminars. And then in your next year, you will be taking consultation, pick an elective, and then just to note, electives, you can enroll in psychology and non-psychology graduate courses as long as you kind of run it by us and make sure that it's approved. And then in the winter of your second year, you get to take program evaluation and pick a developmental core or seminar, as well as 2 electives in the spring. And then throughout the whole second year, so every term, you will be taking a fieldwork course. And we'll talk about that as well. So that's the cumulative project that I mentioned earlier, and that runs again the whole year. So just to mention, we are very proud to also offer this focus kind of for community psychologists at DePaul on trauma and disaster prevention and intervention. And so we have 2 courses that we recommend as electives. You don't have to take them, but they're offered every quarter, interchangeably. And we think that our students will greatly benefit from them. And so far, they have had great reviews from our undergraduate students, but these will be cross-listed. So I mentioned seminar rotations, so the classes that you get to pick from, so you get to pick 2 out of 3, and you get your cognitive seminar courses, you have your developmental seminar courses, as well as social seminar courses. So remember, for those, when you had to pick social core, this would be the list of courses to pick from. And again, we'll provide all that information for you. You don't have to worry about that until later on, but we figured we'll mention it. So again, going back to this idea of fieldwork. Fieldwork is, before we talk about fieldwork, DePaul strongly believes that we need to get our students out into the field, right now obviously remotely, but go out into the field and apply what you learn in class, because that's the best way to get that experiential learning, but also understand how nonprofit organizations work, to understand how systems are in place. And so everybody who is in a community program, whether it's undergraduates, whether it's PhD students or master's students, do take fieldwork. And fieldwork at its core is you developing and implementing a consultation project with a community organization. Now, what you're gonna be doing with your organization is really up to you. It's very unique and individualized in terms of what you wanna learn, what skills you have to offer, what you wanna get out of it. And so we encourage you early on, before your second year, when you actually apply for a fieldwork, to explore your interests, plan ahead, make connections, and then of course kind of identify those skills that you already possess that you can utilize, as well as something that you want to work on or acquire. And so it's guided. There's a class, you come in, you talk to your classmates, you have an instructor who is there for you, and then you're using what you've learned in the consultation course. You're using, well, actually every course pretty much that you've had up until then, you're going to be using that. But program evaluation and consultation are probably the 2 you'll be using the most. Any questions? I know we're like looking far ahead. So we also have reviews built in to help you stay on track, not to scare you or anything. We just want to make sure that everybody is on track to graduate on time. And you will be completing an annual review. Just to mention really quickly that for your courses, below a B- is considered failing. And you must maintain 3.0 or better GPA throughout your career. So in this review, we'll talk about, again, any struggles, hopefully none, but any struggles with classes, going to think about your schedule ahead, but also look at your summary of achievement every year, including publications, conference presentations, and things like that. And I will be working with you this year to help you kind of set it up, get on track, and stay on track. So some of the tips, and well, actually before that, questions about the requirements and the program kind of overview? Anybody? No? Good? Okay. So some of the tips on surviving and thriving in school are, well, first of all, make sure you pay attention to the emails that come especially from the department and especially to your DePaul email. They might be coming from the chair, associate chair, program directors, or those are the biggest ones, but in general from the department. You will see things like, when you need to register, any deadlines, any upcoming conferences, any opportunities in the community, and so keep track of those. And then just a quick note that in those, because it's for if it goes broadcast emails to everybody, some of them are directed to doctoral students, and so you will have to work through and see what applies and what doesn't apply. But in general, make sure that you follow through so that you don't miss something important. And there are lots and lots of opportunities that come through those emails as well. So you're students, first and foremost, and so we want to make sure that you are motivated students. You can get as much as you can from every course because every course will add something to either academic and or your professional development. It may not seem that way, maybe not be obvious now, but trust me, there are no courses that we design at DePaul that are just there to fill up space. In every course, you will be learning something. And so just being open-minded about that and trying to get as much as you can out of it is probably the best. Make sure that you link course material with your interest in future career, because that will also kind of help you be more interested, getting more out of it, and of course performing better. Because if you care about something, we tend to do better. Make sure that you connect with your instructors both inside and outside of class. Networking is huge within our field, and so learning about options, opportunities, whether it's a career path, whether it's building rapport with somebody or having a potential letter of recommendation writer. So you want to make those connections. So talk to your instructors. They generally love talking to students. So take advantage of that. Be a good teaching apprentice. If you are at all interested in teaching, you can ask about pedagogy, theory, methods, practices of teaching. And there are some opportunities to teach at DePaul. So I know that for some of you, it may not be of interest, but if throughout your career, maybe, in your first year, if you're like, what, I do want to teach. Maybe you want to teach in academia, maybe you want to run workshops in a non-for-profit, maybe you want to lead, youth groups, in the community, whatever it is that you want to learn about teaching, there are opportunities. And Jerry is probably the best person to talk about that. We actually have a teaching seminar course. So if you decide to do that, make sure to talk to me and I'll be happy to give you more information. Be a supportive colleague, learn about the work that's being done by other students in your cohort, as well as others maybe in the master's program or outside. And we have, again, different opportunities for students to connect, including to possibly volunteer on research projects, collaborating with other students on conference presentations, on publications, et cetera, et cetera. But also be proactive when it comes to your professional development. So we're always thinking ahead, schedule regular meetings with the program directors, soliciting feedback, asking how can you improve are very important. You also should be engaging in regular and honest self-assessment, where you're at, what are you doing to, improve, where are you going, how are you using, or rather utilizing the opportunities around you to get ahead. Look for opportunities and responsibilities, and of course, get involved with the field early on. So the field of community psychology has an amazing professional organization called the Society for Community Research and Action, or SCRA for short. So I would encourage you to get involved by checking out scra27.org, which is the website, getting involved, joining interest groups, joining listservs, attending conferences to begin with, but just connecting with people is so important. And I'm more than happy to, again, send you more information and talk about it. I have held a number of leadership positions at SCRA because I honestly, enjoy it. It's not work. If you enjoy something, it becomes a hobby. Any questions on that? Or Lenny, did you want to add anything about?
Sure. Just to mention, the current president of the organization, SCRA, is actually a person who came out of DePaul University. And actually quite a few prior presidents have been connected with DePaul or still are at DePaul. So, we have at least 3 faculty members right now who are have been presidents. So just letting you know, we are, we think about social networks, we are connected, and being connected is so important because it helps you get into the organization and helps you with opportunities for training and for jobs. So yeah, SCRA is our home organization, and we can do everything we can to sort of get you to go to some of the conferences in the fall. There's something called ECO Community Psych Conference, which there'll probably be a Zoom meeting this year. And in the spring, there'll be something at the Midwestern Psychological Association, usually at the Palmer House in Chicago.
Yeah, so there are lots of different opportunities. And like I said, try to get involved as early as possible. I know that sometimes for students, myself, same, guilty. I thought being a student, I didn't have much to offer. What do I know? Here are these people. I read articles that they wrote, or books that they have written. What do I have to offer? And I could not have been more wrong. After I joined some of the groups, including the Practice Council, I realized that they really value the input of students, the energy that you all bring, the new perspective that you bring, things like that. And so if you're interested at all, like I said, I'm more than happy to talk about that. And getting involved early is important, as Dr. Jason's mentioning. So there is a book that a colleague and I edited a few years ago on careers, and networking was one of the top things that was listed in terms of being able to find a job. And so knowing people in the field is really, really important. Any questions? Comments? Okay, we're almost done, I promise. In a nutshell, again, I know it's a lot of information and we're kind of throwing it at you, but it doesn't mean that you need to understand, memorize, or being able to regurgitate any of that yet. It's more of a preview of what's to come, and we do want you to feel welcome. We do want you to know that we're there for you. Feel free to email either one of us, and my email is there, and you should have Dr. Jason and Dr. Cleland's emails from previous communications. And we will be having, we haven't scheduled them yet, but we will be having at least one meeting as a group each quarter. So that's to be determined. But other than that, again, we just wanted to have this meeting as an opportunity to welcome you all.
So if I can make a quick comment, thank you so much, Olya, for that overview. And this is a very special meeting, and that's why I wanted to record it, because you are the first class of community master's students at DePaul University. So you'll be able to look back and sort of say you were part of something new. And what does that mean? That means you have extra responsibilities also, because we want you to help us shape this program. So we came up with this idea and we thought it sounded good and that there was a need for it. But you're going to tell us what we've done right and what we haven't. And we want to hear from you. And we want to change the program over time. We don't want to just have it the way it is now. And that's really what community participatory research is. We're all working together. And we all are basically trying to think about what's the best way of us helping you get the skills and training to be successful as being agents of change. So yes, this is very exciting. And we will somehow post this thing in different places so that we can share this historic moment with the world.
So now that you had a second to think, does anyone have any questions about anything at all?
Olia, just a point of clarification. For I don't know if there are if the students have ever been on quarters before, but this is a little different format. So just let me give you a quick kind of overview of how quarters work. So DePaul has 3 10-week academic quarters. Most academic institutions have 2 15-week semesters. So you're going to end up with the same. I'll call it seat time in a Zoom era. I don't really know what that means, but so you still end up with kind of the same amount of instruction, but you end up with a few more courses. Just in the big picture, our quarters go from Labor Day to just before Thanksgiving is fall quarter. Winter quarter is essentially the beginning of January to mid to end of March, and then that's winter quarter. Spring quarter is kind of the end of March until the first or second week of June. So that'll give you some sense of kind of how this falls out. It's kind of odd that the month of December, we don't have regular classes. I mean, there's kind of interim classes and so forth, but really not graduate courses during that time. So just in case you've not done this before, it's just a different system. And something that Olia said that I want to really reinforce, and that is you guys really have to pay attention to email. That's the way we talk in universities. And pay attention to your DePaul email. We can't keep track of 2 or 3 emails that you have, and we can't text you, and we can't do all these things. We have kind of one way that essentially gets put into the system, and that's how we talk to you. So it's kind of up to you to make sure that you monitor all those, at least open them up. And like Olia said, a lot of them don't really necessarily apply to you, but it's kind of interesting to see what's going on around you, even if it doesn't apply to you sometimes. So it's really important that you do those things.
Yeah, and those are very important. And if you have any questions, just remember that we're there for you. That's our job, to guide you. And so don't hesitate. Don't feel like you're bothering us. Just shoot us an email. I'm happy to answer any question. And if I can't answer, I will point you in the right direction. So for example, I'm working with Laura on registration. And so if anything happens with that, I will make sure to forward your email. I will make sure to put you in contact. If you have any questions about specific courses, specific people you want to connect with, anything at all, just even if, like I said, even if you feel like I may not have the answer, I will make sure I'll find somebody who will. So just let me know. I'm good at a lot of things, but I can't read minds. And so if students are struggling or don't understand something, unless they tell me, I don't know. I'm just gonna be honest. But if you do, I will go out of my way to help out and get you connected and answer your questions.
So yeah, just to kind of throw something in about this uncertainty that's happening with COVID-19. None of us really know exactly how this is going to go. And certainly there will be online classes for the fall. But after that, we'll see. They're talking now about having vaccinations. Some of the trials will be starting and have been encouraging. By December, they might even be having vaccinations in January. And I think by this time next year, I think there'll be a lot of progress. So we'll see. So I'm optimistic. I actually do research with viruses. So I sort of kind of have an inside glimpse to some of the world that's going on right now. I study kind of an illness called MECFS, which we think might be caused by the Epstein-Barr virus, which causes mono. So that's just some of my background. But, you know, because we're a group and we all want to get to know each other, maybe we could just go around quickly and just tell us who you are, where you graduated from, and just maybe a little bit about what you're interested in. We could do that. And all you maybe.
Yeah, and I have one thing to add. Tell us how you've learned about this program.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Since it's brand new, we're really curious about how did students hear about us?
I'll go. My name is Nancy. I'm living in Chicago. I've lived here for 5-6 years now. I graduated from DePaul. I did a double degree in community psychology and sociology. I could not decide between the two. So I did that, and obviously Olio was my professor. I had like, I think 3 or 4 quarters, and she's been great. So obviously she told us all about the program and wanted us all to apply, and I just like had to. It just seemed like the perfect thing for me. Right now I'm working at a non-for-profit on the west side called Turning the Page. We work in schools to engage families, to engage more with their students' work, and give them the resources they need, books, things, tutors, whatever. I'm doing that, but I'm really actually into prison abolition work, and doing research on that kind of stuff, and developing programs in and outside of prison, while people are incarcerated and then after incarcerated, making sure that they're in programs and having resources, everything they need. I've been really interested in that. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. That's kind of like my focus coming into this master's. Probably will be focusing on prisons in some kind of way. So yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kevin. I also went to DePaul. I had you, Oya, my junior year, right before this was all announced. I discovered this program while I was looking for programs to apply to in my senior year. And I was really interested in either developmental or community psych because they both really intrigue me. I'm really into the social development and identity of queer and people of color, individuals. So that's, yeah, my interest.
Great. Thank you, Kevin.
All right, so my name is Matt. I actually also graduated from DePaul, and I actually first heard of the graduate program for community psychology through when there was that sort of like a panel and like sort of like a showcase down at like the Lincoln Park Student Center. I first heard about it through there, and I was interested because something that's like always been one of the biggest like inspirations for me with pursuing like a career in psychology is being able to help people that like aren't able to really get that assistance like otherwise, be able to be like a resource for the people that need it the most. And the more I read about community psychology, the more like when I took a class on it during my undergrad studies at DePaul, like I was able to really like resonate with a lot of the aspects of it that really like helped me feel like I can apply that like sort of motivation towards something practical in like a very direct way. So one application later, here I am.
Fantastic. Welcome.
Thank you.
So my name is Cassie, and I graduated from Montclair State University in New Jersey a couple of years ago. I majored in psychology and I minored in sociology, and it's been kind of a long road of trying to figure out like what I want to do and kind of the path I want to go down. But community psychology definitely spoke to me because I feel like it definitely like emphasizes like advocacy.
I think we're losing you connectivity right now, Casey, but we heard some of it. So we welcome you too. If you come back on, we'll bring you back, but right now you're frozen. So. Sarah, why don't you finish it up?
Hi, I'm Sarah. I just graduated from Benedictine University in psychology. I found the community psych program because I was volunteering with Dr. Jason in the research center and working with one of his kids. And I've always been a really big fan of sociology, and community psych is kind of like this great way to like take all of these like systems and things that I'm really interested in, but apply them to a direct level on like individuals, which I'm also super interested in. So it's like a great marriage of like being able to do things on a community level, but have them affect people on a personal level.
Fantastic. And we have Casey back. Let's see if Casey will let her finish up. All right.
My internet kind of cut out.
It's okay.
All right, so I guess I'll start over. So my name is Cassie. I graduated from Montclair State University back in New Jersey a couple of years ago. I majored in psychology, minored in sociology. It's kind of been a long road of trying to decide what path I want to go down in terms of my future. So I kind of like landed on community psychology because I really appreciate that there's like an advocacy and an emphasis on like providing those resources for people who might not otherwise have them or have access to them. So I'm really interested in providing those like resources, being a liaison for people of color specifically, and those in poorer communities. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Casey and Sarah. And so how about Jerry? Can you just tell a couple words so everyone can know your distinguished past? We have a former dean who actually helped create the whole college here with us. So that's very impressive. Jerry?
So a couple of quick things. Sarah, actually, two of our alums actually are faculty at Benedictine. Jim Davis teaches there, and Brian Patterson is your chair, who also graduated from DePaul. So all these connections are important, you guys. Make sure you talk to people and make sure you make connections. So just so you know my background, I got my bachelor's degree at Augustana College. Master's at Northern Illinois, and I got my PhD at Loyola University, and I'm a developmental psychologist. I actually started teaching in a small little liberal arts college in the northern suburbs here, and moved up to an administrative position, and I was the executive vice president of the college when DePaul essentially purchased this college in 2001. And at that point, I joined the psychology department at DePaul. Then I'll shorten all of the discussion, but I was the associate chair and then the chair of the department, and then became the dean when the university formed a new College of Science and Health. Once I stopped doing that, I needed to find something to keep me out of trouble. So I started thinking about how we could develop a new program, and we started writing this up and trying to find some people who were interested, and Lenny and Olya thought this was a great idea. So we kept working to get this program developed. Finally, last year, we got it approved through the university, and you guys are our first class. So I couldn't be happier. And so welcome to all of you, and we're just delighted that you're here.
Fantastic. And just real quickly about myself, I have been at career since I've been at DePaul University since I came out of graduate school. So this is 45 years in one place. It's amazing.
Wow.
So I've really enjoyed watching the program change over the years and add new dimensions. And it's very exciting to think of DePaul University as being one of the key sites for community training in the nation. So that's exciting to see all the people that have been able to be so successful being affiliated with DePaul. And, you know, I do basic research with people who are have housing insecurity. I deal with people with recovery homes called Oxford Houses. I also deal with people with the chronic illness who are often stigmatized, who have what's called ME/CFS. Very applicable right now because a lot of people with COVID-19 are having difficulties recovering, and some of those individuals might end up being classified as ME/CFS. So that's a whole new area of work that I'll be doing. And I also work with Dr. Robinson at the Center for Community Research here on violence prevention with ninth graders. So yeah, we do lots of work from prevention to building communities with recovery homes to fighting against stigma and discrimination against those with some chronic illnesses. So all these different aspects of what community psychology is about. It's all very applied. It's all trying to make a difference, but it's all basically theoretical. So we're very intentional with trying to make change. I think that differentiates us somewhat from the community organizers and other people who might not have that theory, as well as very specific interventions plans. Oh yeah.
So really quickly about myself, I graduated from Lake Forest College with a double major in psychology and sociology and anthropology. And similar to kind of what Nancy said, and I'm sure others have felt that way too. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do in terms of how do you choose between the two. One is I love psychology. I love what psychology can do for people, but I didn't feel like at least what was offered to me on the undergraduate level, that there was enough emphasis on systems. And that's why I loved sociology. And so I decided that I'll take a year, which ended up being 2 years off, and I will figure out what's going on and go into probably applied social psych, because that was the closest. I ended up working for 2 years at the Center for Community Research with Dr. Jason on the Youth Tobacco Access Project. We were trying to prevent minors from accessing tobacco, which was so near and dear to my heart. I fell in love with everything that the project was and the methodology that was used, the participatory action research, the fact that I ended up actually visiting schools and visiting police departments. So it was very hands-on, very applicable. There was a lot of advocacy going on. There was a lot of listening to the students themselves. And so that was so great that I realized that this is what I've always wanted to do. I just didn't know it existed. And so I ended up applying only to community programs. And my, obviously, for one of the top choices was DePaul. I wanted to continue working at DePaul. So I've been with DePaul ever since. It's not as long as Lanny, but since 2001, I've been working there in different capacities. So I got my PhD, master's and then PhD along the way at DePaul. So I have a PhD in community psych from DePaul University. And then I started teaching, and I've helped create, and I've been the director of the undergraduate concentration. And so when Jerry and Lanny began working on the master's level, I said, sign me up. This is great. This is, just another way of providing an opportunity for those who want to do this work, being able to actually do it. So I'm kind of living vicariously through my students, because I didn't have that when I was an undergraduate. And I would, this is one of my call-ins, is to raise awareness about community psychology, but also be able to provide education in it to those who are interested. So in a nutshell, I'm not going to keep you for too long. Obviously, I love talking about community psychology, but we're going to have so much fun in Intro to Community Psych, because you all are with me. So you'll hear a lot more. So I'm going to stop now and let those who have any questions or comments jump in before we let you all go and enjoy the rest of your night.
I have a quick question. You kind of went over it a little bit, but can you talk a little bit more about research opportunities, specifically with the community psychology PhD students, collaboration with them, maybe even paid research position opportunities, things like that?
Sure. So at this point, we don't have, and again, with COVID, we kind of, that's another added layer of complexity. So we don't have anything built into the program necessarily, but we do have many connections, including with the Center for Access and Attainment. So this is my other home now. I work with Luciano Berardi on food and housing insecurity through the Center for Access and Attainment. And there are some opportunities that we are looking at for students, your cohort, to be able to partner up with that center and maybe some other places, possibly paid, but we can't guarantee at this point, that it's paid. But we do everything that we can possibly on our end to try and connect students with research opportunities. So I don't know if Lenny or Jerry have anything to add. Lenny, you're muted. Oh.
Thanks. So, I think this is something that, Oya and Jerry and I are going to be talking about this summer and talking with people within the university, because the university is very large and there might be opportunities with Lucho and others with the Stain Center. So we're going to just be exploring those things. And our dream going into the future is that, we'll have enough financial support for people, by having jobs and grants and things like that. So we're hoping that we can be very creative. Jerry has all types of ideas about where graduates can work. And if you can think about all the types of places that need people who are being trained here, we really should have some exciting possibilities before us.
And not to discourage or not to push any other directions, but we also thought about this program as much more of an applied program to go out and go into the communities. So one of the things that people think when they think about work opportunities at universities is within the university. And one of the things we're going to do, I think, is to say, look, find these community organizations that perhaps can need your help, and that where you can collect data external to the university and so forth. So this is going to be a little different model than programs that we've had here before, but I think it's all consistent within the program and how the program works. So we're still finding our way as well, and any feedback you can give us about maybe some suggestions of what we can do and who we can reach out to would be appreciated as we go along. We've thought of a lot of things, but I'm sure there are a lot of things we have no idea about yet, and we're all still learning. So please feedback to us and help us in this process as we continue to build this program.
And we just want to thank you all for your courage to be part of something new. And it's fantastic. So we applaud you for working with us to create something, the creation of a new setting. You're all part of it.
And going back to this idea of checking your email, as we are working on it in the next few months, if we find any kind of opportunity, we will email you. And so you need to be checking those emails, because opportunities do come up all the time. And so as we are trying to kind of wrap our minds around, what's happening with pandemic, with some other things that are happening right now in our society. There are opportunities, there are grants, there are places that have paid internships and things like that. And we would be more than happy to kind of help you navigate that, but also probably build it into the program as well. So you can benefit from both. So for example, as Jerry mentioned, you could be collecting data and then using that for one of your courses. And then you can also potentially turn that into your field work and then get paid for the work that you're doing to satisfy the requirement for the program. I'm all for double, triple dipping if possible. So again, if there are opportunities, we will let you know. Any other questions?
Just kind of a quick question. I'm not sure if you already talked about this, but how many of us are there going to be in the program?
So there are 6 students in the program. So it's a very small program. In terms of classes, you're going to be combined with other programs for some of the classes. But this is your cohort. We're just missing one person on the call, unfortunately. But other than that, this is it.
And by the way, the idea was really to have it small, really, so we have exactly what we're looking for our first year.
Anything else before we let you go? Okay. Any parting words? Anything? No? I want to make sure everybody is not quiet because they're completely lost, but quiet because they're practicing.
So yeah, just wanted to really say quickly, we also have a combined program. So students in their 4th year and 5th year can get a kind of a BA MS. So that'll be another cohort of students. So that'll be a group that you'll be seeing and talking to, but they're going through the program in a slightly different way. So we develop both programs at the same time, but you'll be seeing those folks, and that will be a separate group of, how many do we have in there, Oya?
We have 7.
Okay, so altogether, there's about 13 students that are in this first cohort. Two different programs, but you'll be taking a lot of the classes together.
I think this is it. I think we've all talked out. Just a quick reminder, feel free to email me with any questions at all. After, even if it's just as soon as we say goodbye, and you go, oh, I should have asked that, shoot me an email. Welcome everyone. We're not lying when we say we're excited. We really are excited to have you all starting this program. This is something brand new, and you know, it's a journey, and you're on it with us.
Thank you, Oya, for organizing this.
Of course.
And it's great to see all you guys for the first time and meet you all, and I'm sure we will continue to do this.
Definitely. Be on the lookout for some emails from us with more information.
Thank you, guys.
See
Thank
ya.
you. It was nice meeting you.
Bye.
Guys, bye.
See you soon.
Bye.